and
Oddworld.
Hey oddballs, I'm your host Jensen, and welcome to episode 123. Well, spooky season is officially over. I mean, I guess it really just depends on who you talk to, and if you're listening to this podcast, I'm guessing you don't mind a little spook all year round. So, is it actually over? I don't know. But today you're going to learn about a mythical creature, so let's jump right into it. Here we go. It's lesson time. Today's mythical creature lesson is the troll. Trolls. They're mythical, folklore creatures known for their huge size and strength, living in caves or dark forests. Trolls signify resilience and the need to face challenges head on. If you dream of encountering a troll, it may be a sign that you must confront your fears and overcome obstacles in real life. All right, there's the troll. As always, if this applies to your life or someone else's life, maybe, I don't know. And let's go ahead and move on to stories.
This comes from an anonymous writer.
I have a few small stories of the paranormal, but my craziest, scariest one is something I think back on often. I can't help but wonder if a person I was taking care of was possessed. The story takes place when I was in college and working a night job as a caregiver. I was helping a young adult with typical living needs like cooking, cleaning, and assisting with mobility. They brought up religion often, and I would entertain the conversations as I was open to believing in a higher power, having been raised in a religious home. The conversations would sometimes feel off, though. I never felt comfortable around this person, even though they hadn't done or said anything in particular. I've always been a very accepting and easygoing person, so most of the people I took care of took to me easily. This person was different. She would seem to like me and then play tricks on me or be exceptionally mean. She would do things to make me uncomfortable, like suddenly deciding to put on layers of clothing while turning the air down as cold as it could go, refusing to change it, even though it was summer and I was in shorts. She would hide things or kitchen gadgets that aided in food prep to make the cooking more difficult. I excused it as her way of exercising some sort of control in her life when she didn't have much otherwise. I was allowed to sleep on my shift and began having nightmares, which is unusual for me. I chalked it up to stress, but the nightmares were often what I would describe as demonic. One night, the client thought I was asleep. I heard her moving around in the next room and heard her whispering to herself. Then, the whispering turned into two voices that were deep and gravelly, and definitely not hers. This was the early 2000s, before cell phones with much internet to speak of, and there were no other devices in the room capable of making that sound. The first voice said, "She's a threat to us." And the second agreed and said, "We have to get rid of her." I could only assume they were talking about me. My blood ran cold, and I did the only thing I could think to do. I prayed. The voices stopped, and not long after that, she decided to move away. I will never forget those voices, though. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I feel bad for the person writing this story because they're just trying to work. Like, they're just trying to have a job to help cover the bills. They ain't trying to fuck around and find out. And this person that they're taking care of does seem kind of possessed to me. I mean, why would they do things to just be kind of irritating and just weird? You know, I mean, maybe it's a mental thing. I don't know. But then you get to the voices, and what the actual hell is that? Unless for some reason there was a radio in there, I really can't think of anything else that would be in there at that time. Maybe a TV, but like other than those two things, no, there really isn't a whole lot that I can be like, oh yeah, that makes sense as to like why noises were being made. But seeing as this person has already ruled that out, I'm assuming there was no radio or TV. And the fact that this person started praying and the voices went away. The fact that the first voice said she's a threat to us and then the other one said we have to get rid of her. Would you not just shit your pants and leave? I'm sorry. I don't care how much I love the paranormal. Even things like this would make me leave instantly. So thank God that this client moved away because this could have gotten bad really quick. This is literally like some horror movie shit, as most of these paranormal stories are, but this is straight up horror movie and it makes me want to puke. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. As much as I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go and investigate the super demonic allegedly homes, like I'm gonna do it. I don't know if I could. I mean, there are days where I just really don't care about anything, and those are the days when I really can tackle like a really spooky house. But I mean, like, that's not gonna actually happen. But anyhow, point is no, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. This would have freaked me out. And it just kind of makes me like a little woozy. Like, it's gross. It's just gross. I don't know. I feel really bad that this person had to go through something like this. Like, okay, you have your normal typical hauntings, but then you have some of like this happening. I don't really say things are demonic usually, but oof, I don't like this one, and I would go as far as to say that this one probably actually is demonic. Given the nature of how the story reads and how it goes, it just gives me, I don't like it. I don't like it. So if you have a story like this, let me know. But we're going to go ahead and move on to the next story.
This comes from alternative-lead 9345 on Reddit.
Okay, here's a story. It's not totally impressive, but I'm very science-minded, and I cannot explain it. One night, my wife and I were in the den. I was on my computer at my desk at the back of the room. Towards the front was my wife at her computer. The door to the room was opposite her. We both faced the same way, as the TV was on the wall at the end of the room. So, I'm sitting there. And out of the corner of my eye, a small boy, around 4 or 5 years old, ran into the room, stopped just inside the room, and ran back out. He had blonde, shoulder-length hair. Now, he did this in what I would describe as a playful way, the way a kid would run in and out of the room, messing with mom and dad. I saw him at an angle, so I sat back weirded out, and my wife turned to me and said, Did you see that? I replied, that little boy that just ran in and out of here? She said, yes. What the hell was that? I said, I have no idea. Now, keep in mind, I was in the back of the room, so I saw him enter from an angle. My wife, however, was in the front of the room, and when the boy entered, he ran directly at her, stopped, turned around, and exited the room and disappeared. She said he was smiling when he ran into the room. He ran directly at her, stopped just a couple of feet away, and ran out of the room and poof, disappeared. I heard his little feet on the floor as he ran in and out. He was as solid as you or I, not see-through or anything like movies. So that's it. I don't know what it was that I saw. I'm not into paranormal stuff, so I haven't a clue. I mean, I don't know much about quantum physics, but the fact that both this person and their wife experienced this makes me wonder, like, what if it was an actual little boy from the other side? I don't know the background of the house. I don't know, what the land was all about. Like, seeing as this boy ran into the room and ran out kind of makes me wonder if he knows the house. So maybe something happened in the house. I don't know. Also, maybe he's always been there, even if it is like a new house. Maybe he's always been there, but you just never saw him for some reason. It's a spooky one, but it also makes me kind of sad because like if it is a little boy who has passed away, it's kind of sad. Like that's just sad. I mean, I know it happens, but he seems happy if he's on the other side, if that's like legit. So it doesn't seem like he's there to do harm or anything, but maybe it was just a spirit that was also passing through. Who actually knows? I don't know. Like I said, I don't know much about quantum physics, but it's interesting. And I would really like to know your guys' opinions. And if you have a story like either story today, let me know. And I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And well, it's an odd world after all. Oddballs, thank you for listening. And if you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to leave 5 stars or thumbs up on whatever podcast platform you listen on. If you have any comments for this episode, comment below. Or head over to Instagram and comment on this episode's preview. To submit a story or for more information, go to itsanoddworldafterall.com.